9-6 in the championship this weekend. The British driver with Emile Frey Racing, who made their debut as well in DTM yesterday. 17 points. He qualified on the front row and finished on the podium yesterday. So we had two rookie drivers on the podium yesterday. Frank Pereira ahead of Tim Heinemann and Jack Aitken. So Jack's third on 17 points. Ricardo Fella had a really good drive and a good battle late on with his teammate from last year, René Rast, to finish the race in fourth place as top Audi. So he's got 13 points. Fifth is René Rast. He was fifth in the race on 11 points. And sixth is Kelvin van der Linde. Relatively satisfied. You always want more as a racing driver, but it was a tough day and a tough qualifying yesterday. So Kelvin is sixth on 10 points after starting the race at ninth on the grid. In terms of the teams championship, it's the top two drivers for each team that gain the points, and SSR Performance, as you'd expect, are leading therefore, because they won the race yesterday. So the Lamborghini Huracan that they run, SSR Performance, have got 33 points. Talksport WRT, who run the Porsche, have got 27 points and are second. Abt Sportsline in the Audi are third on 23 points. And Emile Frey had two cars, both their cars in the points yesterday, and Jack Aitken, as I said, on the podium. They're fourth on 17 points, with Schubert and Mante both on 11 points in equal fifth place. And then for the manufacturer standings, Lamborghini, after round one of the championship, got 33 points. Porsche got 29. Audi got 23. Ferrari got 21. Mercedes 13. Had a tough day yesterday, Mercedes. BMW have got 11 points. Sheldon van der Linde, you can see there to the left of your picture, a really, really tough start to the defence of his championship yesterday, with only 19th place in qualifying. And then in the race, he was running around in 20th place, came into the pits to try something different with a fairly late pit stop, and then there was a problem with the pit stop at the front right, lost more time, and eventually retired from the race. So 0 points so far for Sheldon. But today's another day. We know he's a mega driver, we know Schubert are a mega team, and we know on Friday that Sheldon was the quickest driver in free practice. So just because Saturday was bad doesn't mean Sunday is going to be bad, and he'll try and put it behind him. David Schumacher was one of the cars running off the road yesterday, still looking for his first points in the championship. As I say, it was a tough day for Mercedes. All the other brands were up there in the top six yesterday, except for Mercedes. But we'll see how it works out in this 20-minute session today as the cars are released out onto the circuit. And this is different, isn't it? Because yesterday they all waited for, apart from Alessio Deledda, they all waited for 10 minutes before they went out. It was a short, sharp session. Then everybody was complaining about, you know, there was too much traffic out there. I couldn't get a lap in. There was too much dust. The circuit wasn't what we thought, because they'd only given themselves 9 or 10 minutes to qualify. So it was a slightly jumbled up grid yesterday. But the cars and the drivers, maybe stung some of them by that experience, have gone out. So Chris Hartley here to talk you through qualifying 2. The second session of the weekend, the second session of the season, and 20 minutes of action coming up. So yesterday from Pereira, getting that pole position, and we'll see what the lap times are going to be like comparative to what we saw yesterday in that qualifying session. 123s we should be looking at for a quick time around here. It was only 18 thousandths of a second yesterday, the difference between the top two. So incredibly close. Hopefully for Luca Stoltz there, he's in the yellow HRT Mercedes in his shot, it'll be a better day. He's had real rotten luck so far as Luca, a race winner last year in the championship. One of now 11 drivers on the grid that have been DTM race winners. They won 67 races between them. That race yesterday, that maiden victory from Pereira. Luca Stoltz, a winner last year, and one of the drivers you'd look at being a potential championship front runner this year. But so he had that accident on Thursday, damaged the car, missed the 2.5 of the sessions on Thursday, and then Friday they got the car fixed, but then found that it was a bigger problem than they expected with the car, and that to change the whole car ready for Saturday. Chipped in another car, and he's been on the back foot ever since, and then got damaged in the race and was the first retiree yesterday. Well, one driver that is staying cool, calm and collected is your champion, Sheldon van der Linde there. Not yet going out. Most of the others have, but the 24-year-old from Johannesburg, who recently celebrated his 24th birthday, is in what's going to be his 72nd race of the afternoon coming up, waiting for everybody else to mop up the track before he goes out. So he's had 4 career pole positions, Sheldon van der Linde. course, last year's champion. Good start to the season this year as well. Ferrari won their first ever Nürburgring 24-hour race last week, but second place went to a car that was co-driven by Sheldon van der Linde. So on the podium last week at the Nürburgring 24-hour with Marco Wittmann, who was another BMW driver, had rotten luck yesterday with a loss of power that they were trying to investigate. Car really struggling in the qualifying session as well, so he was only just ahead of Sheldon on the grid, and then his race didn't last too long either before he retired. So drivers yesterday with a bad start, but it's a long championship. And
Copy, Luca. Just one more reminder on the brake temperature. We have to get more temperature into the tires, okay? So it's all about that. If we get this, if we can manage this well, we will be quick today.
Lucas Stoltz, engineer on the radio, saying, right, it's all about the tyre temperature. You've got to get them up to temperature. If you do that, we'll be quick. So just a reminder to the driver of the process. So the car's building up speed. Several drivers like Lucas Stoltz, Sheldon van der Linde, Marco Wittmann need a much better day today and a much better qualifying position, because it's not the easiest circuit in the world to overtake. And although we did see some good overtakes yesterday, you have to work hard at it. So we'll see how it all pans out when they all start to go into their first flying laps of the session. Alongside me for commentary, delighted to say joining me for qualifying and for the race later on today is Brian Oliver. Brian, a new day today as a driver like Sheldon van der Linde or Marco Wittmann. You experience your fair share of downs, don't you, in motorsport? So they'll be pretty adept at trying to just put that behind them now. I know Sheldon, we've talked to him about this before, he's a very positive personality. He tries to always see the good things, and he's pretty good at shaking off a bad day. They've got to start from scratch again now today in this qualifying session.
Morning, Chris. Yes, Sheldon van der Linde, he knows there's another 15 races remaining this season, so he's got lots of time to rectify things. He knows how to do it. He's got a long season ahead. He knows there's pace in the car. He was topping the timing sheets in free practice, so it is a case of putting that yesterday behind you, regathering yourself, and just pressing on. And today's a new day, and I'm sure that he will be giving it everything, and will forget about yesterday really quickly.
Yeah, Marco Wittmann then going early and with a pretty good start to the session as well. 123 already, 123.806. And now we're looking at Mick Wieshover, who was brilliant yesterday in qualifying to quit on the second row of the grid in 4th place, and battles for the pits on this one. The race didn't go quite according to plan. He dropped back in the early stages and then eventually retired, but really impressive qualifying from Mick on his debut as well. One of 9 rookies that we got in the championship this season. So Marco Wittmann sets the early benchmark time. He was keen to get out there, wasn't he, and get a lap in. And he's done it. It might not be the lap that secures pole position, but it's a decent start of 123.806, and he's going quicker. Absolute best first sector with a 30.546 for the 2014-2016 champion. The thing I love about Marco Wittmann is his sheer commitment, and he showed that, didn't he, in abundance through the chicane.
Yes, absolutely monstering that BMW over the curbs. The weather today is hot. It's already warmer today than it was this time yesterday, so I think we're going to see some pretty quick times. There's more and more rubber going down. The temperature is rising on the track, so we're expecting to see some records broken. That BMW, he aborts that lap and peels off into the pits. So Wittmann back into the pit lane. Yeah, he
had a personal best, but and then an absolute best in the middle sector, but doesn't complete the lap. But somebody who is going well is Matteo Drudi. So Drudi, absolute best first sector so far. And the number 40 machine, he was quick in free practice, didn't have a good day yesterday, but the Tresor Orange Audi, see what he can do in this session as Lucas Stoltz goes into second place ahead of Patrick Niederhauser in these early stages. Only really those 2 competitive lap times so far of Wittmann and Stoltz. But Drudi coming across the line, see what he can do. That goes second. That is a good lap. So Matteo Drudi, who was a disappointing day yesterday, but showed great potential during the free practice sessions on Friday. Well, he goes second for now. Driver from Rimini in Italy, lives in San Marino. Was a Formula E test driver for the Audi Sport Abt Scheffler team in 2019-20. And his dad, Luca, was a racer as well. Was a class winner at the Le Mans 24-hour back in the late 1990s and early 2000s. He's also competing in the GT World Challenge Europe this year with the Tresor Orange 1 team. Former Italian GT champion, so we'll see what he can do today. But Patrick Niederhauser has gone to the top of the times for now in the sister car, the number 83 machine. So the new benchmark time is a 1:22.553, so already going quicker than yesterday. So a qualifying session before this for the Prototype Cup Germany, and they were going a lot quicker than they went on day one as well. So that track, with all the rubber that's been laid down and the slightly warmer morning temperatures that we've got, looks a bit quicker, as Brian said. So Niederhauser and Drudy the top two, but Stolz might be about to upset the apple cart, and does. He goes quickest in the Mercedes with the 1:22.379. So very tidy lap that, an absolute best third and final sector. But Niederhauser, as I was going to say, he's on a fly. He's done the absolute best first and second sectors. He does a really good final sector, and he goes back to the top of the time. So Patrick Niederhauser, number 83, up then into provisional pole position. There he is, the Orange 1 Audi, another of the new teams this season, another new driver to the DTM as well. Patrick Niederhauser, 31 years of age, recently finished 6th in the Nürburgring 24-hour race. He's also competing in the GT World Challenge Europe, and is former frontrunner in the ADAC GT Masters Championship, won the title in 2019 with Kelvin van der Linde. This is Kelvin's brother, Sheldon, who needs a good qualifying session here just to get the season up and running. So he goes out, slightly out of sequence with the others. Lots of cars on track, but we've only actually had 6 cars, as you can see from the graphic on the left-hand side of your screen, the top left corner. We've actually only had 6 drivers that have crossed the line so far, and only really 4 of those lap times have been what you call competitive times. So Niederhauser, Drudy, Stolz, Wittmann, who's in the pits, they're the top 4. Engstler in 5th, Viesover in 6th place. They're the only time. Stolz comes in, and yeah, it's quite telling, isn't it, that the drivers who struggled yesterday are the ones that are keen to get out there early. Drudy, he's still going around pretty quickly. A personal best in the first sector. His last lap was his best lap. Can he go even quicker on this one? Drudy does not improve, so he's backed off in that last sector. And it'll still be then Patrick Niederhauser, the former ADAC GT Masters champion, that remains on provisional pole position, but it's all going to change. So a lot more activity in the first 10 minutes of this session than there was in the last, albeit we've only had a few that have set a lap time. But with all eyes on this man now, Sheldon van der Linde, the champion, made history last year, the first African driver to win in the DTM. Pushing on, Sheldon, hugely popular figure. He and his brother Kelvin, massive fan base here in Germany. They both live together in Kempten in Germany, and both speak excellent German as well. And certainly the biggest queue for autographs in the pit lane walkabout session yesterday was for Sheldon van der Linde. Jack Aitken, first opportunity to see his onboard camera as well. This great rear-facing camera shot. Looking back at Arjun was another one that was unfortunate yesterday with retirement from the race. But it's a great view, that, looking at the back of the new Ferrari 396, this beautiful V6 powered car. Lucas Auer as well was out of the points yesterday, got a finish, but top 15 scored points this year in DTM, and he was in 16th place, just outside the points. Still trying to get back to full fitness after his horrific crash at Daytona back in January. So the top 2 are now in the pits, Niederhauser and Drudy. The benchmark time is 1:22.040. Jack Aitken's first lap time is a cruising one, 1:31, but still have to go 7th for now. And Sheldon van der Linde, his first lap is not a push lap, it's a 1:26.3, but this will be the one. A great shot over the shoulder of Sheldon van der Linde now. You see him working away at the wheel, see all the buttons he has to deal with on the steering wheel and the display as well, as he pushes on up towards turn 3 now. Looks pretty flat from the TV pictures, but it is cambered to the inside corner here. They go past the grandstands on the right, and you go down the straight here, past the penalty box area there on the left, and then a triple left-hand sequence coming up through the next sequence of turns 4, 5, and 6 before you get to another right-hander at turn 7. And then you come back on yourself, the furthest point of the circuit, out through the chicane at turns 8 and 9. Not yet pushing on is Kelvin van der Linde, but he's about to be, I think. Out of turn 10 and up the back straight towards the right-left sequence at turns 11 and 12. That goes behind turn 3, if you like, beyond the grandstand, out to turns 13 and 14, a double right to end the lap, and out of 14 you've got to push right to the limit. So Brian, again, it looks like it's going to go down to 6 or 7 minutes of qualifying, doesn't it?
It is a seriously busy track. Every single car now out on track. Patrick Niederhaus has just come out of the pit lane, so finding space, finding a gap to be able to put in that hot lap is going to be really difficult. They all want to leave it to the last minute. If we get a red flag within the next 3 or 4 minutes, there's going to be an awful lot of people clutching their foreheads.
Good point. Thierry Vermeulen's just put the Ferrari up to 6th place. Got into the points yesterday on debut, the young driver, so been very happy with that and pretty pleased with this. But under investigation at the moment is the number 3 car of Kelvin van der Linde for the alleged blocking of yesterday's race winner, Franck Pereira, who currently runs in 5th place. There is Franck, and he's done so far 125.298. Oh, that's just what Brian was talking about. You don't want your hot lap spoiled by either going off yourself, as has been the case here for Maro Engel, or somebody going off spoiling your lap with yellow flag zone. He's kept the engine alive though, and Maro will get back on the track, get going again. There's not much steering lock on these cars in low speed, is there? But he just about got the turn done. We get a replay once again of where it all happened through turn 2. Again, the one that's caught them all out, just understeered wide, and then tried to get on the gas, and then that's when the back end went, because there's not much grip on the grass, even though it's still pretty dry.
I remember the last time I saw Maro Engel spinning, actually. He's not one for making mistakes, and it just shows how tricky that hotel turn is.
Yeah.
It's a very unusual corner. It is the scene of so many incidents over the year, and when Maro Engel gets it wrong, you know it's a problem corner.
Thierry Vermeulen has gone 2nd quickest in the number 69 Ferrari for Emil Frey by 25 thousandths of a second. He's just missed out on provisional pole position. Kelvin van der Linde has shot up to 5th place now as well. It's all about to kick off, everybody. 5.5 minutes to go. This is going to be it. Alessio De Leda with a good lap as well goes up to 7th place. The Lamborghinis really are flying. What about Sheldon van der Linde? He's 13th at the moment. You're watching him now, but he looks like he's going to improve on this lap potentially as he goes for it. He's got to find quite a bit of time. He hasn't really had a push lap yet. Just been getting the heat in the tyres, as we've been hearing about. Luca Exler goes up to 5th place with an excellent effort from him. Christian Engelhardt was in the points at the start of the season yesterday. Tommy Priding qualified 6th yesterday. He's on track, and he had a bad race with one of several drivers that had botched pit stops yesterday. Bortolotti goes to the top of the times, 1 minute 22.006. Everybody thought Bortolotti surely is going to be the driver with all his experience from last year that's going to get Lamborghini's first win, but the race didn't work out for him. 8th place yesterday after dropping back during the pit stops, but he's now on provisional pole, 122.006. He qualified 3rd yesterday. Niederhaus is 2nd, Vermeulen 3rd. Engine Guen is up into 4th place, and Jack Aitken puts the Ferrari up onto the front row of the grid and only misses out on pole position by 6 thousandths of a second. What about Sheldon van der Linde? His first proper lap. Where is this going to put the BMW? The Schubert Motorsport driver crosses the line now and goes to the top of the times. Fantastic. Welcome back, champion. Sheldon van der Linde, 121.865 seconds. Quicker than Bortolotti by a 10th, Brian.
Yeah, we saw that one coming. It was really Thomas Priding who'd gone purple in Sector 1, and as soon as Sheldon van der Linde stole that away, we knew he was on a quick lap. He's in the back garden of Schubert Motorsport, a track that he knows, and top of the time sheets, that's where he has been for much of this week, and it's where he's back now. But Maro Engel, after that spin, now goes to the top of the time sheets, a 121.665.
And Rennie Rast goes 2nd, and then Clement Schmidt goes to the top of the times. Every time somebody crosses the line, somebody goes quicker. Bortolotti into 2nd place. Everybody in the top 9 have just set personal best lap times. Got 3.5 minutes left to go in the session. Schmidt and then Guen goes 2nd. Lamborghini, then Porsche. 79 thousandths of a second between them. These times are much quicker than yesterday. They've got fresh rubber on, surely, and the track seems quicker. 121.502 for Schmidt, 121.581 for Guen. Bortolotti 3rd on the 121.608. 121.6s for Engel and Rast as well, and Thomas Priding, and then Tim Heinemann crossed the line, and that's your new front row of the grid. Priding ahead of Heinemann, 2 Porsches, 32 thousandths of a second between them, and 121.370 the new benchmark time.
1 minute ago we were saying that Sheldon van der Linde was where he belongs in pole positions. He's down in P12 within about a minute. What did we say about this track getting faster and faster? This will go all the way to 0.
That's mega, isn't it? How it's just getting quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. And how can you drop from 1st to 12th in 60 seconds. That's incredible. Welcome to DTM, everybody. It's a bit competitive out there. 9/10 of a second, cover the top 24 at the moment. Bortolotti is trying to be on another push lap, but Tim Heinemann, who was a revelation yesterday on the podium on his debut, has done the absolute best first sector in the number 9 Porsche. So he's on a good lap. What will he do in sector 2? Second at the moment, but he needs to find 33 thousandths of a second to grab pole position. But Thomas Priding is also on a quick lap. They're pretty much together on track. Absolute best in the second sector for Priding, so they're both looking like they're going to improve their lap times. There is Heinemann. Just ahead of him is Priding. You see the yellow Porsche flashing through shots, so Priding will get there first. They're both going to improve. Who's going to have the best lap? They're evenly matched at the moment. Priding goes through and does a 1:21.347, and Heinemann does a 1:21.6. He lost out at the end, so an improved lap and pole position extended by by another 20 thousandths of a second. He's half a tenth clear now, 55 thousandths up on Tim Heinemann. Schmidt is third on for an all-time best qualifying in his second season of DTM. Bortolotti and then Dennis Olsen has moved up into 5th place. So you look at the top 7, and there are 4 Porsches, top 6 rather, 4 Porsches and 2 Lamborghinis.
Yes, and the highest Mercedes is that one there you're looking at, Mauro Engel in P7. Is he going to improve on that? He did a personal best in Sector 1, but Sector 2 wasn't spectacular. He doesn't improve that much, does he? No, P7 is where he remains. So Mauro Engel struggling a little in the Mercedes. Meanwhile, Christian Engelhardt has been purple in Sector 1, but probably about 3/10 slower than the rest in Sector 2. So another driver struggling in the second part of the track.
Yeah, here he is. He'll move up the order, but how high? Depends how good the last sector is. It's going to be a good lap, or it would have been. No, he faded away, didn't he, that last sector as well. Viesover has moved into the top 10, so another top 10 start on his debut weekend if it stays like this. Sheldon van der Linde is back in 15th all of a sudden. Kelvin van der Linde is 14th. Thierry Vermeulen was on front row of the grid about 3 minutes ago. He's 19th at the moment. That's how things have changed over the last couple of minutes. We're into the final 15 seconds of the session now. So if you're on your last lap, your last chance. Joseph Awega got in the points yesterday, and the Mercedes driver 8th. The Mercedes going better today. They're not right up there, but there's 3 of them in the top 10. Engel in 7th, Awega in 8th, and Auer in 9th place. The best BMW though is René Rast back in 10th position. Sheldon van der Linde 15th at the moment, and Marco Wittmann struggling again in 22nd. The flag is out. Thomas Priding has taken the flag. He can't improve. He's gone into the pits, in fact, but 1:21.347, and there aren't many green sector times. It looked like they could get a maximum of 3 fast laps out of these tyres.
We said this was going to be different today, didn't we? That the grid was going to be topsy-turvy, and that is truly the case. Thomas Priding in what appears to be the weapon of choice this morning, the Porsche, and the news has finally reached him.
It's Tommy time, everybody. There's the roar.
Amazing.
He had to wait. He got the news on the radio. Have I done it? Have I done it? You've done it, Tommy. Thomas Priding, and that's his first pole position. He had those 2 wins last year, but he's never had a pole position in DTM, so well done to him. People are still out there trying to set quick lap times and get up the order. Lauren Heinrich is only in 21st position. One of the stars of the race yesterday. It's just improved, but way back down the order. Sheldon van der Linde has finished the session 15th, and the only thing you can say about it is it's a bit better than yesterday, but goodness me, what a competitive session that was. You just had to time it right, didn't you?
Yeah, find the space, get it right, but how things change. The highest Audi is Riccardo Feller down in 13th. The highest Ferrari, Jack Aitken, down in 17th. Yeah. He was on the front row just a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, I told you, day 2 is always different to day 1 in DTM. Well, just tear up the form buck on day 2 because it's always completely different. And it's a story of Porsches. First, second, 5th, 6th and 7th the Porsches, and in between them the Lamborghinis of Schmidt and Bortolotti. But not such a good session for the championship leader, the winner of yesterday's race from Pereira. Pole position yesterday, 18th place today. A 1:21.9, half a second away from being on pole position, but it puts you all the way down the order. So Thomas Priding running back to the team now, and on their return to the championship. It was a frustrating day yesterday for Manthey, wasn't it, with those pit stops? Problems for Thomas and Dennis.
So please a reminder, jump out and grab the SD card. So grab the data stick, and we see on the scales. Great job, mate. Good job.
Well done, Tommy Priding, the young Austrian, former Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland champion in his 2nd season. He's full of energy, isn't he? Running all the way back down the pit lane. Talk about being fit.
It was only a 20-minute session, wasn't it? And they were sat in the pits for half of that. I think Lauren Heinrich is probably feeling like his invite to the party didn't come along. He's the driver in the Porsche down in 21st. But apart from him, all the Porsches are in the top 7. That says an awful lot.
Yeah.
I'm wondering whether there might be a revision to the balance of performance before the next round.
There's the team boss, and wow, what a session that was. Absolutely brilliant. Thomas Preining, Tim Heinemann and Clement Schmidt with his best qualifying at the top 3. Let's get some reaction now with Verena.
And I've got Tim Heinemann here. Congratulations, P2 in the qualifying in your first year of the DTM. How does that feel? It's a good start, right?
Yeah, it feels good, but second is the first loser, so yeah, but nonetheless, I mean, yesterday P2 in the race was already mega, and now to be in front again and maybe have a chance again for the podium feels amazing, and it's thanks to the team, thanks to Porsche for a great car, so really happy.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Tim. Back to you.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. He's been brilliant so far, hasn't he? Tim Heinemann, the double DTM trophy champion. No problem at all. Here's Thomas Preining then, 3 points as well for qualifying on pole position. And of course, Tim Heinemann gets 2 points for qualifying second. Clement Schmidt gets a point as well. Clement had a pretty good day yesterday in the race, but that's by far and away his best qualifying in the championships. We've got 2 Austrians there in the top 3 in that session. And yeah, with 20 points scored yesterday, 2 more, 22 points now, closing the gap in the championship. Well, it's very early days to talk about the championship. 6 points now, the gap between Frank Pereira and Tim Heinemann. So brilliant maiden pole position in the championship for Thomas Preining. A really frustrating second half of the race yesterday. Qualifying 1 was pretty good, where he was in 6th position. So Heinemann in 2nd place, Clement Schmidt in 3rd, Mirko Bortolotti 4th, Dennis Olsen 5th, and good qualifying as well for Aingen Nguyen in 6th place. Let's get some more now from Verena.
And I'm here with Clement Schmidt, who is in P3 in the qualifying, and he's got a smile in his face because anything is possible from P3, right, in the race later on?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's a really good feeling to be in the front 2 rows. We already had the potential yesterday, but there I had in sightseeing in the gravel trap, so I'm really happy that I got it together today, and now we are going to push in the race.
I'm sure you will. Thank you very much, Clemens. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Verena. I take it back. It's his 2nd best qualifying. He was on the front row of the grid in the final weekend of the season at Hockenheim, Clement Schmidt, so he's had 1 second. But that's his 2nd best qualifying in 3rd place. So there you can see with those extra points, Tim Heinemann closing the gap at the top of the championship standings to 6 points. With work to do for Frank Pereira from 18th on the grid for the championship leader, Tim Heinemann, with a much better starting position, and Thomas Preining, who did manage to get the car home yesterday and get some points, but he'll be looking for his first proper points. There was the Thomas Preining roar, the reaction to the news that he got pole position, because he actually ended the session in the pit lane. So Thomas Preining with his first pole position, and that will move him from 5 up to 8 points. That's going to put him up ahead of Dennis Olsen and Christian Engelhardt into 9th place in the championship. Mirko Bortolotti just outside the top 3 in 4th place. I think we'll be pretty satisfied with the way the car is handling. 3rd and 4th. Manthey now, I'm sure, will have been rehearsing pit stops and doing what they can to make sure there are no further problems in that area like they endured yesterday. But they're a top team, and I'm sure it won't happen again. Thomas Preining, Tim Heinemann, Clement Schmidt, the top 3. Mirko Bortolotti 4th, Dennis Olsen in 5th, Aingen Nguyen in 6th, Christian Engelhardt 7th, Maro Engel in 8th place. Despite that spin, good effort that. Josef Owega, really good effort in 9th place, and Lucas Auer in 10th position. So 3 Mercedes up there in the top 10. René Rast, the best of the BMWs for Schubert in 11th, Mick Wieshover in 12th, Ricardo Feller with a bit more work to do today in the Audi in 13th, just ahead of his teammate Kelvin van der Linde for Abt. Sheldon van der Linde back in 15th, the champion, with a lot of work to do. Marco Wittmann and Lucas Stoltz back there again, down in 22nd and 23rd positions ahead of this afternoon's 2nd round of the championship. Let's get some more reaction then, down with Verena Riet.
Last year he managed 2 victories, the first Porsche victory ever, and now pole setter. So finally you got your pole position in your 2nd season. So how are you going to make a victory out of it?
Well, it's going to be difficult. We saw how strong the competition is yesterday. The race is very long on this track. It's tough on the tires, but for now I'm just extremely happy and over the moon to be on pole. Was not the easiest afternoon for us yesterday, but to come back like this shows a lot of spirit, and what a strong team we are.
All right, best of luck later on in the race, and back to you.
Thanks very much. Yeah, Tommy Preining delighted with his efforts there. Super slow-mo of Thierry Vermeulen getting a rough ride over the curbs. Full lot, wasn't it? And tried to get over the curbs and avoid the gravel trap, but he failed to do so. He's one of the drivers that's also lost a lap for going too quickly under yellow flags. Quite a few of them coming under that towards the end of the session, unfortunately. But Thierry Vermeulen looked like he was going to have a mega session at one point when he was in second place with, what, about 5 minutes to go. But he ends up, I'm afraid, down in 19th position. Once again, turn 2 was catching them out there. They all run to the edge of the circuit, but you've only got to get it slightly beyond that, and it's out wide and onto the grass, but surviving. And that one, Lucas Auer, on board with Kelvin van der Linde. Shake of the head, probably looking at the lap times thinking, what is happening? 14th place. This is not what we're expecting after a good top 6 place yesterday. But even worse for Sheldon van der Linde. Yes, a better grid than yesterday, but 15th place is not where he wants to be. And a bit of head scratching to go on there at BMW and Schubert, because René Rast was only just ahead as well in 11th place, and Marco Wittmann in the Project 1 BMW struggling so far, and he'll have to try and get something, salvage something, try and get a first championship point from 22nd position. So great effort that, Brian, from Thomas Preining, and a proper DTM qualifying session. That was mega, wasn't it?
Oh, what? That was spectacular. That's everything we've come to expect from DTM and the hot sunshine at Oschersleben. You get those laps that get quicker and quicker. The man to keep an eye on this afternoon, Tim Heinemann, he is very much enjoying DTM 2023. Yesterday, he was spectacular at the start. I reckon he'll have plans to be leading as they exit this corner during the race this afternoon. Yeah,
he doesn't seem like a rookie, does he? No. Feels like somebody who's been in DTM forever. He just fits right in, doesn't he? So really impressive weekend so far from Tim Heinemann. And Clement Schmidt's having a good weekend as well. Got in the points yesterday with 12th place. He gets another championship point today to move on to 5 points. So good start for Clemens at the start of his second season. The Lamborghini's going well all weekend long, but the Porsches to the fore. And yeah, riding on board in this pole position lap for Thomas Preining. He had Tim Heinemann just about 2 seconds behind him on the road, didn't he? They were going around together, the drivers that ended up on the front row of the grid. This was him attacking then out of turn 10 down towards turn 11. It's all looking very smooth so far this lap, isn't it? On the brakes, turn right, rumble over the curbs. A slight uphill climb now, gradual all the way through to this crest here. And then you've been a little bit of downhill descent on the way into turn 13. And then he absolutely nails it through turn 14 here. On the gas, let it dribble out wide, over the line. And that was your pole position lap at the end of a fantastic qualifying session here at Oschersleben.
What an exciting start into the new season indeed. And obviously Porsche very strong, 2 Porsche in the top, and also the Lamborghini show a lot of strength. So it's going to be an exciting race later on, that's for sure. You certainly do not want to miss it here in sunny Oschersleben. So see you later, and now enjoy the highlights. Bye-bye.